Alright, so today we are going to be learning how we're going to handle stem changing verbs. Alright, so the first thing we learn at the beginning of the semester is that there are three types of infinitives in Spanish. Infinitive is a form of the verb. We have three types of infinitives in Spanish: the ones that end in an AR, the ones that end in an ER, and the ones that end in an IR. And we say that when a verb, it's in the infinitive form, we say it's in its original form. The verb has not been changed yet to show neither time, like present, or past, or future, or a subject, like you, or me, or we, or they, or whoever the person is doing the action in whichever this action is happening. Also, we learn that through conjugation, we can manipulate this infinitive so that it shows a person doing the action in a specific time. So if I say hablo, meaning I change the infinitive for an O, I am doing the talking, because this is to talk, and I'm doing the talking, and I'm doing it right now. If I say hablas, you talk, you're doing the action in the present tense. Habla, he or she doing the action. Hablamos, we talk. Habláis is like you all, but only in Spain and only used in the south of Spain. You all or they talk in the present tense. All of this is in the present tense. We also know that we've called these our fishbone, just kind of because it looks like a little fish, right? And so we learned that we changed the ending for the new ending. We changed the infinitive for a new ending, and that's how we know who's doing the action and when. When you move on to Spanish 2, they're going to be teaching you a bunch of new fish bones so that you can be talking about the past tense. Primarily, you're going to be talking about the past tense. When we learn all of these, we also learn that when we're talking about infinitives or verbs in the infinitive, this part is called the infinitive. And this part is called the stem or the root, if we're doing it in English. And in Spanish, this is called raíz. Raíz is how we say root. And it's kind of like the idea of a flower, right? So this might be of a different color or texture, shape or anything. But the stem, for the most part, is the stem. It doesn't really change. So that's kind of like the idea. So we've been talking about verbs in which we change the ending, but we never really touch the stem. But as we said, now these are going to be stem changing verbs. So now we're going to be manipulating the stem in addition to manipulating the infinitive. So this is like a two-step process. When you're dealing with a stem changing verb, you are going to deal with the infinitive the way you have always been doing it. The way that we've done it since the beginning of this year. So we have our three fish bones based on our infinitive. We have the ones that end in AR, the ones that end in ER, the ones that end in an IR, and then we have the endings for our infinitives. But now, as I said, we're going to change our stem. We have actually a bunch of different changes, but in Spanish 1, we only deal with 4 different changes. We have a stem in which an O can change to a UE. We also have a change in which the U can change to a UE. A stem with the E can change into an IE, and an E that can change into an I. Those are the 4 possible changes that I can have. I'll tell you real quick that there's only one verb in this category in the present tense, and the verb is jugar, which, as you know, means to play. like to play an instrument, not to play an instrument, but like to play a game, to play sport, to play like a board game, a video game, not music, not an instrument, but a sport, a game, and some sort of a activity. Now, so this is the only one for that one. These three. This is going to be fairly easy because when you're giving a stem changing verb, and I will be giving you a stem changing verb, I'm not going to make you kind of figure it out or find out. That will come with practice. When you find that the O is a letter that changes, you're going to know that it's going to be a UE. Is this two that are going to be a little tricky for you to kind of know how to handle? But first let's go through like how you're going to change it. Let me give you, for example, a verb. This is a stem changing verb. The verb is encontrar. And the verb encontrar means to find. See how I have it in the infinitive? All right. As I said, I'm going to give you the group of verbs that are part of this category. The knowing which one it is or not, it will come in next year in Spanish too. But for now, I'll give you a group of these verbs, and then you will need to know that it is a part of this category. I'm not going to be looking at my ending because I know that my ending is going to be changing based on my fishbone, the ones that I just reviewed out, okay? So I'm going to go backwards, not counting the infinitive. I'm going to go backwards, and the very first vowel that I encounter, that's the one that is going to change. As I said, the O is easy to change because there's only one change. So I'm going to do my fishbone like I've been doing all this year, the whole entire year. I know my endings. Okay, so I got, this is nothing new, this is what we've been doing. But now, instead of writing my stem like I used to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this O to a UE. So really, this should be, you see how I made this change, this O to a UE? And that's how I do it. So encontrar is to find. To say I find something, I say encuentro. I'm making this change. To say that you find something, I'm going to say encuentras. I'm making that change. To say he or she finds something, encuentra. To say y'all or they find something, I say encuentran. But something special is going to happen with this too. This change of the UE is only going to happen in these 4 boxes. These ones are going to remain exactly the same that we've been doing it since semester 1. So the O is not going to change. It's going to be identical to what we used to do before. It's going to be the same. The only ones that change are I, you, he or she, they, or y'all. That's why sometimes teachers, instead of calling these stem changing verbs, we call these boot verbs. Because if I draw a line around the ones that have the change, they make it look like a shoe or a boot.